Hello, I'm Jim Hollinger. I'm a member of the Northwest Western Swing Music Society, and I was inducted into the Hall of Fame the second week of August of 2011. Second week of August is the yearly event here. It's a Western Swing Festival, and that's been going on for 24 years. It's been going on here at the Auburn Eagles. They've hosted it. The Auburn Eagles in Auburn, Washington has hosted it for the last 12 years, and the society's been in existence for 31 years. And before I go any further, I want to dedicate this to my wife, Susan. She's been a terrific support and helped me out a lot with this business. There's been some ups and downs, and she's there kicking me back up all the time. And it goes out on a lot of the gigs I go on. The first segment dealt with playing swing, and the fact, and the swing pattern, the ride beat, and supporting a band, and the fact that the swing rhythms and ride patterns you play, they come from a triplet. The second segment that I'm doing today is not telling you how to play a drum solo. It's just showing you some ideas or a tool that you can use. This is a drum book called Progressive Steps to Syncopation by Teddy Reed, and some people refer to this as a drummer's Bible. I've been through most of it. I like to use page 38 as an exercise for myself. I warm up with this. This is written in straight 8 time, not swing triplet time. There are some triplets in here in some places, mixed in with straight 8s. And but this particular exercise one on page 38, if you have the book or if you can get it, it is written in straight 8, and I'm going to play the way this would sound. Be 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so you might think, well, that would go with say a rock beat. I'll put a backbeat on 2 and 4, and I'll play the what is the written figure there. They had the bass drum on all 4 on the bottom line, but I'm going to ignore that. I'll play on the bass drum what that written figure is. Okay. What you do is you take the notes that are on the end of halfway through a beat that you would count as and, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to swing it, you want to make that third note of the triplet. And if you look at that first segment, I show you how the triplet divides a beat into 3 parts, and what you're really going for to make it swing is that third part. Or you could even do it with the bass drum. I did it with the bass drum as a rock thing. Like that, all right? So we're swinging that sheet when we do that, and that's not a bad thing to learn, because if you're going to play like in a high school stage band, and there's some junior highs out there that have awesome jazz bands. If you're going to do that and play professionally, that's a way that big band charts are written. The only time you see a triplet actually written out is when they want you to play the whole triplet. You know, if you're going to go along. Well, that's got to be written as a triplet with a little 3 above it, as I described in the previous segment. So, playing drum solos. I practice off of this. I use some rudiments, but I also practice off of this. And I'll start out with, say, a slow drum solo. And so, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Something that slow. Well, if I get a tempo that slow thrown at me, what I do is I have my accents that I just play as singles. But I do doubles on the notes that are not accented. So I'm going to play that first line again, just in triplet form. Instead, if I played it just straight 8 as a drum solo, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, like that. It'd be like that. But it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing it with a triplet in mind, and the ands end up being the third note of that triplet. And this may be a little confusing to some people because I'm doing this for beginners and intermediate, but this is where getting a teacher comes in, all right? So now I can go back and do that again, and I'll do it slow. Hope I can do it slow. Sometimes you play things fast. That doesn't mean you can't play them. You can play it slow, but I'll do it slow, and I'll count it out loud. So in the first, say, looking at the first two measures, I just played 1 is 2 is 3 is 4 is 1 is 2 is 3 is 4 is 1 1. So you're just doubling up on the notes that are not accented. So you can do it right there. You can play it on rim shot. So on and so forth. You can do that, or you could do it on the cymbals with a bass drum behind the cymbal. You can do that. So, and then you can also just mix it up around the drums. Like that. So, the other day I heard somebody playing a tune that was probably on the radio. So we're playing swing. So he played straight 16ths, and that may be because it was so slow he didn't have enough to work with. But if you double up on the triplets that aren't being accented, and even some of the accented ones, even some of the accented ones, it might be well if they be doubles as well. And you could start out practicing it that way. Like that. Practicing it that way so you get a feel for it. The thing you really got to be careful of, and I catch myself doing this, when you're playing doubles, I'll just play some quarter notes with a triplets. 1 is 2 is 3 is 4. That's 1 is 2 is 3 is 4 is 1 is. Now there's a gap between that accented note, which is on 1, 2, 3, and 4, because that's going to be an eighth note. That's a regular eighth note, triplet eighth note. And then the is has a double on it. So 1 is 2 is 3 is 4. Here's the problem: you get rolling on this at a little bit more of a moderate tempo, and you get used to doing this. Well, what I'm playing there is 5 notes per the beat. Like that. That's not playing triplets. You gotta be. You gotta be real careful about that. Otherwise, because you don't get the same feel. You're playing 5 notes per the beat. That'd be like writing out 5 notes and put a little 5 over there, just like you do the triplets. And so that's one thing you can do for playing slow. And you can just play the regular. All right, now, just to show you what can happen. Let's say you play, you get into playing five notes per beat. So you're playing like something like that. Okay, that's not really coming from a triplet. Okay, then you play a paradiddle-diddle, which is 6 notes. So that's 16th triplets. And those doubles, when I'm playing, those doubles are 16th notes. Those are 8 notes. 8th note triplets. Okay, so you're playing. Okay, see how much faster those are? That's because you're squeezing six notes into a beat. And so if you're right away you can hear it, the difference. So you want to tighten up and just follow the triplet feel when you're playing doubles on the notes that are not accented. So that's fairly close, because that you just got to stay within that format if you're going to do this kind of thing. So now we're looking at medium fast tempos. We can play doubles on notes that aren't accented, and I mean doubles. I mean combining two triplet notes together as a double. I don't mean like 1 is 2 is 3. I mean 1 is 2 is 3, where my left hand played doubles. It played both the is and the triplet, the second and third note of the triplet. So looking at this top line on this exercise on page 38, and this stuff takes some work. So don't get disappointed. Just keep, you can take one line at a time, and you do that first line and get it down, and the rest of it is just kind of rewriting the same thing over and over again. It's not, every line isn't exact copy of the previous line, but it's the same notation, the same idea. So you just keep working on that first line until you got it down smooth, then move on to the second line. It'll come a lot quicker than the first line did. Okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, like that, okay? So, like I say, and the is, when I have one like that, I don't play the is. I just, that would get in my way if I was playing a fast tempo. And so that's what I do there. And again, now that can be moved around the drums. You can play it at rim shots. Okay, or you can do that. Then you can also move, take that same line or a whole page and just move around the drum set. The last thing I'm going to talk about today is would seem to be contradictory to what I've been saying about triplets. If you look at the first segment, swing is based on triplets and so on and so forth. But you finally get down to some pretty blazing tempos, and the triplets are so fast it just kind of turns to mud. You got to open it up a little bit and play eighth notes, and then maybe have some what sounds like rolls, but they're really just eighth note triplets. So if I'm playing, well, at that speed, if you're counting that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, well then those are eighth note triplets. And so that's about all I could play myself in triplets at that speed. If I start playing some of these other things that I played here recently in that last solo, I wouldn't be able to. I'd be 2 minutes late getting to the first beat of the next measure. So you have to resort to playing, open it up and play eighth note figures. Just as written on page 38 of this book. I haven't used this book to practice that kind of thing. Just straight eighth note solos, even though it's written in straight eighths, so that sounds kind of contradictory. But I use a lot of rudiments and paradiddles and some things of my own. I made up a thing you might like to try. It's called a paradiddle did. paradiddle did, paradiddle did. So if you're playing that last note was that, and you have to make sure that it falls in the time frame that you're trying to get it done. But that's basically what I do. Something like that. And that's a little bit sloppy because I haven't done that in a long time either, like most of the stuff I'm showing you today. So that's it with drum solos. You've got for swing, you have where you double up on the eighth note triplets, make them 16ths, and then where you just, instead of playing single strokes all the way through, when you get a little bit faster, you play doubles on the unaccented notes. The figures where you're just playing the doubles and the accents like that with the singles, you can play that. Once you get it down, you can play that at a pretty fast clip. Not as fast as this last thing. No way. Not for me anyway. So that's it with the solos, the second segment. Above all, get yourself a drum teacher. That's the most important thing you can do. Some of the things that I've been talking about probably got you scratching your head a little bit. Well, you get a drum teacher and talk about some of these things, and he'll know what I'm talking about, and he'll set you right down the road in the right direction.
Got a bird that whistles, I got a bird that sings. Got a bird that whistles, I got a bird that sings. Hey, without Corina, life don't mean a doggone dirty thing. I love Corina, tell the world I do. I love Corina, tell the world I do. Just a little more loving makes your heart beat true. Oh, Jimmy.